You pour every ounce of energy you have into a goal, expecting momentum, but instead, the whole system grinds to a halt. You're working as hard as you can, yet the results simply do not exist. You try to hold on to hope, but week after week, month after month, that optimism is met with a relentless, exhausting cycle of disappointment. Eventually, you hit a specific cognitive wall. You sit down in the quiet of your own mind and ask a question that feels like a confession. Am I actually good enough to do this? This silent moment of self-doubt is where the vast majority of human potential ends. It is the graveyard of ambition. The decision to quit at this inflection point is usually the result of a psychological trap, even when your physical stamina remains intact. This happens when we prioritize external expectations over internal goals. Letting that external noise dictate your worth accelerates the feeling of failure. We plot our expected progress as a perfectly smooth upward trajectory. But when overlaying actual progress, we see a chaotic, jagged reality. We believe if we are on the correct path, our lives transform without friction. When you enter an endeavor expecting that smooth, upward line, you are essentially preparing to fail at the first sign of real adversity. Human psychology fights against friction, but the natural world operates on an entirely different framework. In biology and geology, struggle is a strict requirement for existence. A seed cannot become a tree without being buried in absolute darkness. Carbon requires crushing pressure beneath the Earth's surface to structure into a diamond. The same laws apply to metallurgy. Gold achieves its highest purity only after being subjected to fire and extreme heat. Ultimate value is a byproduct of friction. Hardship functions as a filtration mechanism. It exists to reveal the patience and courage that remain after every other comfort is stripped away. We often justify inaction by saying we are waiting for the right opportunity. In reality, success is built through thousands of small steps rather than a single leap. If you look at the history of highly successful individuals, they have all experienced chronic loneliness. They have been ignored. They failed more often than the public ever realized. This graph maps progress. A stagnant line represents waiting for opportunity, plotted against an exponential curve of 1% daily improvement over a year. This trajectory proves small, consistent choices dictate the outcome. Microscopic daily habits create growth that single actions never could. Resilience is the predictable result of daily repetitions. It is developed through the mechanics of persistence. To maintain that exponential growth, you have to shift your focus inward. Your soul baseline becomes outperforming the person you were yesterday. By measuring yourself against your own history rather than the opinions of others, you completely strip fear of its influence. As your internal track record of discipline grows, the perception of your weakness begins to fade. Think of how natural systems operate. The sun provides light without asking who will praise it. A river cuts through solid rock without pausing to measure the difficulty. They execute their functions independently of observation. Finding your purpose requires that same independence. You must execute your function regardless of immediate rewards or external applause. We have to translate that natural force into human endurance. Keep on working, keep on learning, keep on rising every time a defeat knocks you off balance. When you finally break through the darkness, your success will be secondary to your process. People will be inspired by the story of how you continued when the results were invisible. The refusal to quit when the odds are stacked against you is the one legacy that endures long after the goals themselves are achieved.